Tonight you are drifting into the long, calm story of London. We will move through it gently, one quiet age at a time, beginning where it all begins, at the river's earliest edge. Before we begin, let yourself settle. Feel the weight of your body resting where you lie, the soft pressure of the surface beneath you. The city of London has known 10,000 nights like this one, dark and still and unhurried. And tonight you are resting somewhere inside that long, gentle quiet. Let your breath come in slowly, drawing the air all the way down, feeling your chest and your belly rise in a long, easy tide. And now breathe out slowly, longer than the breath that came before, letting everything soften a little as the air leaves. The shoulders ease, the hands grow heavier. Breathe in again, slowly, as though you are breathing in the cool, pale mist that has always drifted off the river in the early hours before the light comes. And breathe out slowly, letting the mist carry away whatever the day has held. One more breath in, soft and deep, and out, long and slow, the eyes growing heavier now, the body sinking gently into the dark. You are already drifting. The river is waiting for you a very long time ago, before there was a city here, before there were streets or bridges, or any stone carefully laid upon another stone. There was only the river and the wide, soft land it moved through. The Thames was broader then and slower. It wandered as it pleased, spreading itself across vast, flat stretches of ground that were neither quite land nor quite water, the kind of in-between place where that distinction has never much mattered. Reed beds rose in the shallows, tall and pale and faintly whispering. Willow trees leaned down toward the still water at the margins, trailing their long branches in the current. The air smelled of cold water and wet earth, and the dark, faintly sweet decay of old plant matter turning slowly back into mud. You are resting here now in that early time. The ground beneath you is soft and gives a little, the way all marsh ground does, gently and without resistance. There is no sharp horizon you can make out, because the mist sits low and close, and the sky and the water and the pale, flat land between them are all the same gentle, silvery color. The world here is very quiet. Its sounds are small ones. A reed warbler moves somewhere deep in the rushes, its voice a low and unhurried murmur. Water curls softly around a half-submerged root. Somewhere further along the bank, a moorhen steps carefully among the stems, and then is still, and the silence settles back around it, like something folding itself closed. This was the Thames before it had a name. It had been here for a very long time already, moving through this low and gentle valley long before any human hand had touched the ground beside it. It had shaped its bed with patience, depositing fine silt on the inside of every bend, drawing gravel down slowly from distant hills, and arranging it along the riverbed over centuries, and then over centuries more. It had never been in a hurry. Even now, even in the great city, it would one day carry quietly on its back. The Thames keeps its own slow and unhurried pace, and you can feel that patience here, in the way the water moves through the marsh, without insistence, without urgency, without any concern for where it is going or how long the journey takes. Gradually, people came, not all at once, and not with any great commotion. They arrived at the water's edge the way things arrive in a marsh, quietly and over a long stretch of time, appearing on the low banks as though they had simply always been there. They were small groups following the seasons, and they knew this landscape with great care. They knew which plants grew close to the water and which were safe to eat. They knew the shallow crossings, the gentle places where you could wade from one low island of dry ground to another without sinking into the deep mud. They left very little behind them. A handful of flint tools pressed into the gravel by centuries of slow silting. The faint memory of a fire, its charcoal long since folded into the dark earth. Their voices and their names are gone entirely, and yet they were here, beside this same quiet river, watching this same mist lift in the morning and settle back again at dusk. Time moved through this place the way mist moves, softly and without a sharp edge. Season followed season and century followed century, and the marsh received each one without complaint, as it always received the rain, quietly and with its usual patience. In winter, the river rose and spread across the low ground, and the reed beds became broad, silver sheets of cold, and still water under a pale sky. In summer, the mud dried and cracked at the edges, and swallows skimmed the river's surface, and the tall reeds turned from green to a soft and dusty gold. The river shifted its banks from time to time, claiming a little more of the low ground here, withdrawing from a mudflat there, and the land remade itself around each change without any drama at all. In later ages, people came to the river and felt that it deserved something, some acknowledgement of what it was and what it gave. They left offerings at the water's edge, beautiful things, objects of polished metal placed gently in the shallows and released. The river accepted each of these gifts without ceremony and drew them down into its silt. And there, rested in the quiet dark. Some of them rest there still, far beneath the city that would one day rise above them, as patient and undisturbed as the river that holds them. New channels formed through the marsh over those long centuries. Old ones silted up and became pale meadows, and then low scrubland, and then meadow again, each change happening so slowly that no single person could have watched it happen. And still, the river kept moving, as it always had, carrying its gray and patient water toward the sea. Above the marsh, a little to the north, two low hills lifted themselves above the tidal flood line. Dry ground, ground that held your weight without shifting. People began to notice those hills, to climb to them and look down at the river and the wide, flat marsh below, and to feel something settle in them at the sight of it. In ones and twos, they came to those rises, and then in small, quiet groups, and they looked at the river winding through the reeds, and they stayed for a while, and then longer than a while. And you are here through all of it, drifting gently through these long, unhurried centuries. The marsh holds you. The river holds you. The deep, soft, ancient ground of this place holds you in its slow and patient quiet. The water moves. The reeds lean in a small breath of wind and grow still again. The Thames carries on. The centuries settle over the low hills like a slow tide, and somewhere in the long quiet between one age and the next, the land begins to change its shape. Where reeds once grew in black water, where geese called across open ground in the early morning, a new kind of stillness arrives. It is the stillness of stone being laid. You drift with it. You feel the weight of it, gentle and distant, the way you might hear a sound from another room and let it become part of a dream. The Romans come to this bend in the great water with practical eyes and calm, unhurried hands. They look at the two low hills, the soft valley between them, and the small stream threading down from the north, and they see a place where a city might rest. And so they begin. They work steadily, the way people do when they are not in a hurry to prove anything to the land, only to live beside it. One stone finds another. One timber leans into the next. The place that will one day be called Londinium takes its first slow breath. The Walbrook is the name that memory will keep for the stream. But in those early days, it has no name that has come down to us. Only a sound, the sound of water moving across gravel in no particular rush, finding the easiest path, the gentlest slope, the way that sleep finds you when you stop resisting it. The stream is open here, open to the sky. You can stand beside it in your imagining and watch the small current carry a leaf from the northern edge of the settlement all the way south, where it slips beneath a timber dock and disappears without fuss into the wider water below. The city grows around that stream the way any living thing grows, slowly, from the center outward, with no grand announcement. A forum appears on the eastern hill, wide and well paved, where merchants set out their goods in the pale morning light. Amphorae of olive oil, bolts of wool dyed in soft earth colors, dried fish wrapped in cloth, the dark sweetness of figs carried all the way from warmer shores. The forum fills and empties with the rhythm of the day, and the day ends, and the forum is quiet again. Beneath a low and silvered sky, you pass through it without weight, without presence, the way thought moves through a mind half given to sleep. The stone is pale and worn smooth in your imagining. The columns throw long shadows in the late afternoon, and those shadows move so slowly they seem not to move at all. Down near the Walbrook, the tanneries and small workshops settle beside the water because the water is useful there, patient and clear enough to carry away the work of the day. The smell of leather, the soft knock of a mallet, the low voice of someone counting inventory in a language that has not been spoken aloud for nearly 2,000 years. These sounds are not sharp. They have already been softened by distance, by time, by the particular mercy that the past extends to those who are almost asleep. There are temples beside the Walbrook, too. One of them, small and round and serious in its proportions, holds in its stones the prayers of sailors and merchants, of people who wanted something from the invisible world and left there asking in the cool, in the quiet, in the flicker of a small flame. The god they prayed to was Mithras, a name that means very little now to the waking world, but which carried once the whole weight of a person's hope. You do not need to understand it, you only need to feel the hush of it, the way a stone floor holds cold air even in summer, the way a small flame makes a whole room feel enclosed and safe and separate from whatever waits outside. The Walbrook moves through all of this without commentary. It does not speed up or slow down for the passing of seasons. It receives the rain from the northern fields. It carries the coolness of those fields into the warm heart of the city. It gives itself to the wider water without ceremony, without hesitation. It is simply water going where water goes. And there is something in that constancy that is the most restful thing in the world to hold in your mind as you settle. A winter comes to Londinium, gentle and gray. The tiles on the rooftops hold a thin crust of frost that softens by mid-morning into small, bright beads of water, each one falling without sound into the mud below. The hypocausts beneath the wealthier floors push slow warmth upward through stone, and the rooms above them are dim and amber-colored, full of the particular peace that heated rooms in cold weather always carry. You rest in one of those rooms without occupying it the way a memory rests in a place, present but weightless, taking up no space at all. Centuries pass the way water passes over stone, leaving something behind, but taking something too, wearing the edges down until nothing is sharp anymore. The Roman city does not end in a single moment. It softens. The forum grows quiet. The workshops along the Walbrook slow, and then still. The stream itself grows over at its margins with grass and sedge, and the city begins to absorb its own stones. Stone by careful stone, building something new from what was old, setting fresh timbers into Roman foundations, as though grateful for the solid ground. The Walbrook does not mourn any of this. It simply continues. It finds new channels when the old ones silt up. It moves beneath whatever is built above it, beneath the centuries, beneath the weight of everything London will one day become. And even now, far below the present streets, below the stone and the clay and the deep black layers of what was burned and what was buried, it is still there, still moving, carrying the soft rain of the north toward the south, in the dark and quiet, with no witness at all but the earth itself. You go with it easily. You feel no need to hold any of this in place. One era gives way to the next the way one breath gives way to the next, without effort, without loss, without anything required of you at all. The city grows softer around you. The stones settle. The light changes slowly to the color of old honey, then to a quieter gray, and then the whole of it becomes very still, and you are held in that stillness, and it is enough. Centuries settle like silt. They do not rush. They simply arrive, one thin layer at a time, pressing gently down upon what came before, until the old becomes the ground, and the new becomes the ordinary. The Romans have gone quiet now. Their painted walls are buried. Their warm floors no longer breathe. The Walbrook, which once ran openly through the city, has pulled itself down into the earth, flowing dark and patient beneath new streets, beneath new boots, beneath a city that does not yet know its own name for what it is becoming. What remains is stone and water. You drift with the tide now, and the tide is older than any of the names people have given it. It pulls from the sea each morning and returns to the sea each evening. And in between, holds the city in a slow, rocking breath. The water is gray-green in this era, flecked with the amber of stirred mud, and it moves against the great stone piers of the bridge with a soft, persistent sound, something between a sigh and a murmur, as if the river is speaking in a language just below what anyone can quite understand. The bridge stands in 12 arches, perhaps more. The count changes across the centuries, but the feeling of it does not. Stone upon stone upon stone, fitted and mortared by hands that ached at the end of each day, hands that warmed themselves over small fires before climbing back to set the next course. You can almost feel the patience in those stones now. They are not in a hurry. They have stood through floods and freeze and the long silver fog of November, and they intend to stand a little longer yet. On top of the bridge, there are houses. This is the part that surprises people when they first imagine it. A whole street perched above the water, with shops and chapels and small windows looking out over the brown curl of the Thames below. Candles burn in those windows on winter evenings, tiny gold squares in the gray dusk, and the people inside them cannot quite hear the water, but they feel it, a low vibration in the stone beneath their feet, a reminder that they are living above a river, that the ground here is not ground at all, but an old human act of faith. You are watching from somewhere easy and still, the way you sometimes do in the soft country between waking and sleep, hovering gently, belonging to no single place. The century is somewhere in its middle years. It is afternoon, or it is the quiet side of morning, and the tide is coming in. You can see it happening in how the water climbs the pier stones, crossing a line of green weed, rising past a notch someone has cut to mark the height. The Thames is filling itself back up, pouring in from the estuary, carrying salt and distance, and the cold memory of open sea. Boats move through the arches, small ones, careful ones, because the arches are narrow, and the current between them is fierce when the tide is running hard. A boatman leans on his pole and reads the water with the ease of someone who has crossed this same stretch 500 mornings in a row. He does not look worried. He looks like a person who knows exactly where they are on the south bank. The reeds have not entirely gone. Even now, in this medieval afternoon, there are quieter stretches of shore where marsh grass grows in pale clusters, and a heron stands perfectly still at the waterline, one leg lifted, waiting with a patience that seems borrowed from the river itself. The city has not yet swallowed every soft edge. There are still places where the land and water argue gently over where one ends and the other begins. Upstream, the water carries its usual cargo of floating things. A tuft of wool that has come loose from a bundle at the wharves. A sprig of something green turning slowly. The broad, flat surface of a piece of timber that has worked itself free from somewhere and is traveling now without any destination, easy and unhurried, moved by forces much larger than itself. You watch it drift beneath the bridge and disappear into the shadow of the arch, and then emerge on the other side, still unhurried, still turning. There is a chapel on the bridge, too, set into the fabric of the structure just above the water. Prayers rise from it each morning and each evening. The people who offer those prayers have spent their whole lives listening to the river beneath them, and so their prayers have a particular quality, a kind of patience, a sense that the world is both very large and very close, that something sacred is not so far from a damp stone chapel, hovering above a tidal river in the rain. Rain comes now. Not hard rain, not the kind that sends everyone running. A soft rain, the kind that lands on the water and disappears almost without a sound, becoming river at the very moment of arrival. The surface of the Thames stipples with it. Thousands of small rings opening and closing, each one perfectly round for just a moment before the next one opens beside it. It is one of the quieter things in the world, rain meeting a river. Neither of them minds at all. The smell of the city reaches you here. Wood smoke and wet stone and the dark mineral scent of the foreshore, where the tide has pulled back and left the mud to breathe. It is not an unpleasant smell. It is the smell of a city working, a city resting at the edges of its own effort, settling into the evening like someone easing off their boots beside a low fire. Lights are coming on in the houses on the bridge. Tallow candles, smoky and warm. Somewhere above the water, someone is setting out a bowl or pulling a shutter across a gap in the wall, or telling a child that it is time to lie down. The child does not want to lie down. The child never wants to lie down. But the sound of the river below, that low, continuous murmur rising up through stone and timber and plaster, has a way of softening things. It says that nothing needs deciding tonight. It says that the tide will do what the tide has always done, and the city will rest for a few hours in the dark, and the bridge will hold as it is held, patient and cold and sure. The cathedral on the hill is silent now. Its bells have said what they needed to say, and the sound has rolled out across the rooftops and been carried off by the breeze, leaving something quieter in its place. An absence that is not empty but full of the sounds that remain when the loud things have finished. Feet on wet cobbles somewhere nearby, a cart settling on its axle, the creak of a rope against a mooring post where a small boat rides the incoming tide, rising with it half an inch at a time. You feel yourself settling now, not into sleep exactly, not yet, but into something that lives just beside it. A loosening, a slow release of the afternoon. The bridge stands, the water moves, the rain touches the river and becomes the river. One era leans gently into the next, and the sound of the tide carries you forward, soft and sure, into whatever comes next. The century turns slowly, the way all centuries do, with no ceremony except the quiet accumulation of small changes. Where once there were open banks of mud and marsh grass, where boatmen called across the water and tanners worked their hides beside the current, there is now the sound of something else entirely. You hear it first as a kind of low percussion, a tap and scrape, a rhythm of iron on stone. Men are laying cobbles. The old ground is being remade. The fleet still runs, but it runs differently now. It has grown narrower in the telling, narrower in the fact. Years of refuse and silt have pushed its banks together, and what was once a broad reach navigable by wherries has become, in the lower stretches near the Thames, a dark and sluggish channel, hemmed in by workshops and tanneries and dye houses, pressing close on either side. The city does not love its rivers equally. Some it celebrates, some it simply uses, and some it quietly decides to put away. You are standing, or rather you are drifting, in the long Georgian afternoon, somewhere in the years when brick and symmetry are the new faith of the city. The builders have arrived with their plans folded under their arms. They carry the smell of lime mortar and sawdust, and they move with the quiet confidence of people who know exactly what they intend to build. They are not unkind men. They simply have a vision, and it is a vision of straight lines and broad pavements and facades that catch the low English light with a kind of modest elegance. The terraces rise on either side of you, row by row, each house with its sash windows and its painted door and its wrought iron railings curving gently down toward the street. There is a particular shade of pale brick that the late afternoon sun turns almost honey-colored. And you notice it now, the way you notice things in a half-dream, without urgency, without needing it to mean anything. It simply is. It is beautiful, and then it passes, and something else comes beneath your feet, beneath the new cobblestones and the clay pipes laid carefully in shallow trenches. The fleet is being covered, not all at once. The covering happens in stages, the way most disappearances do, gradually, and then completely. lower Fleet, which has run close to the Thames, is arched over first, its dark channel given a ceiling of new brick and a road on top, and people walk across it without particularly thinking about what runs below. A market sets up where the bank once stood. A coffee house opens on the corner. The smell of roasting beans drifts through the November air, and someone inside is reading a pamphlet by the firelight, entirely unaware that a river is sleeping beneath the flagstones under his chair. A cartographer somewhere in the city is still drawing it, still giving the Fleet its careful blue line on paper, because maps record what the land remembers even after the city has moved on. He dips his pen and traces the line from Hampstead through Clerkenwell down toward the arched brick dark of its new covering, and the line ends at the Thames with a small flourish, precise and fond. He knows this river will survive in ink long after it has vanished from view. You drift a little further north, following the line of the old channel as it runs uphill through the city, toward Clerkenwell, toward Holborn, toward the quieter slopes where springs still bubble up from chalk and gravel. Here the covering has not yet reached, and you can see the Fleet as a narrow stream running between backyard walls, between kitchen gardens and timber yards. A cat sits on a wall above it, watching the current with the patient detachment of cats. Washing hangs on a line nearby, pale linen stirring in a slow breeze that has come off the hills to the north. A lamplighter makes his evening rounds, his long pole tipped with flame, and the oil lamps on their iron brackets come alight one by one down the length of the street. The light they give is warm and imprecise, a soft amber glow that softens every edge and makes the whole street feel like something recalled rather than something seen. You watch a window above a draper's shop brighten suddenly, a figure moving behind the glass, and then gone, private and unhurried, living its small, quiet life entirely by lamplight. You are already remembering this, even as it happens. That is the way of certain evenings in old cities. They arrive already feeling like memory. The Fleet runs quieter now. Its surface carries a little reflected lamplight, a ribbon of amber and shadow, and then it passes under a low stone bridge, and then under another arch of new brickwork, and then it is gone. Not gone in the way that things end with finality, gone in the way that things continue in another form, out of sight, part of the dark and patient architecture of the city below, carrying its cold water toward the Thames by whatever route remains to it. Above, the streets fill with the ordinary sounds of an evening in the Georgian city. The clatter of a sedan chair on cobblestones, the call of a flower seller, the low murmur of conversation drifting from an open window above a bookshop. The bookshop has a lamp in its window too, and through the glass you can see the spines of books arranged on their shelves, their titles too distant to read, their presence enough. All those words, all those slow thoughts, resting in the lamplight. A baker near Farringdon has banked his oven for the night, and the warmth from it spreads into the street. A small, invisible gift to anyone who happens to pass. You pass. You feel it, that faint warmth rising through the cold evening. And it is one of those sensations that seems, in the moment, to contain everything. The whole long life of the city, its centuries of industry and invention, and ordinary daily bread present in one quiet exhalation of heat from a brick oven on a side street, while a river flows below, unseen and unhurried, threading its way through the dark. The terraces settle around you, their symmetrical facades calm in the lamplight. Window by window, the lights inside go out. The city is learning to sleep, the way it always has, flame by flame, household by household, folding itself inward, pulling the quiet closer. The cobbles cool beneath the long blue-dark sky. The fleet moves on, below and beyond, carrying its small freight of cold toward the greater dark of the Thames. And the city breathes around it, and the city sleeps. By the middle of the Victorian years, London had grown enormous and full of itself. You can feel that fullness even now, settled into the brickwork, pressed into the old mortar of walls that still stand across the city. It was a place of industry and ambition, of railways threading overhead and ancient waterways being pressed gently underground. A place that decided, quite deliberately, to tuck its smaller rivers beneath new streets and let them run on in the dark, untroubled by the enormous weight of everything above. The men who built the tunnels came in great numbers. They carried lanterns into narrow cuttings and hauled barrow loads of London clay up steep wooden ramps, while the cold breath of underground air moved past their shoulders. Their breath made small clouds in the chill of each morning. The foremen kept tallies on boards. The engineers made their calculations at long desks above ground, filling ledgers with neat columns of brickwork and gradient and anticipated load. The handwriting small and precise and perfectly unhurried. Joseph Basil Jett drew the plans. He had a calm sort of certainty about him, the kind that comes from long study and long patience. He knew exactly where the old rivers ran, because they had always run there, following the same gentle depressions in the London clay that they had followed for thousands of years before anyone thought to name them. The fleet had been a covered drain for more than a century by the time Bazalgette arrived. The Westbourne, the Effra, the Tyburn, the Neckinger, all of them still moving in their ancient channels beneath cobblestones and gaslit streets. Bazalgette simply gave them new companions. He built alongside them, around them, in some places beneath them. He set the brick in long, curving lines, and the tunnels rose like cathedral vaults in miniature, smooth and measured and resolute, holding their shape through sheer geometry. You might imagine the brick itself. It came from yards east of London, fired in kilns that glowed orange through the night. Each one was a small, solid thing, a rectangle of local earth pressed and hardened into a useful shape, pale buff or deep red, depending on the particular clay of that season. Millions of them were needed, hundreds of millions across the whole undertaking, set by hand, one by one, into curved timber formwork that held the arch until the mortar dried and the arch could carry its own weight. Then the formwork was eased carefully away, and the tunnel stood on its own in perfect stillness, perfectly dark when the lanterns moved on to the next waiting section. The lime mortar dried slowly and held beautifully. It has gone on holding now for more than 150 years, through every vibration that the city overhead has sent down into the ground. The Victorian engineers gave their work generous proportions, building not just for the population of their own era, but for a city they understood would not stop growing. And so the tunnels are wide enough still for a person to walk through, stooped just slightly, with the hiss of moving water below and the smooth crown of brick pressing quietly against the dark above. Down there, the underground rivers run on. The Westbourne passes through an iron pipe slung across the roof of a tube station, a sealing river of sorts, moving quietly above the heads of waiting passengers who rarely think to look up. The fleet drops through a deep shaft in a long, cold rush of energy, still finding the Thames with the same insistence it always had. The Effra moves beneath the streets of South London, past the roots of old plane trees and the foundations of terraced houses, calm and unhurried in its narrow brick passage, belonging to no particular century, indifferent to everyone. Above all of this, in Bazalgette's era, the city was changing its face. The Victoria Embankment rose along the north bank, a great new road of granite sets and lampposts and plane trees planted in neat rows against the pale sky. The embankment reclaimed mudflat that the Thames had always kept quietly to itself. It hid enormous sewer pipes within its fill of earth and stone. It gave the river a clean new edge, and the river accepted it, as the Thames always accepts such things, without protest, still carrying on toward the sea in its own good time. Broad and bronze gray and perfectly calm, the workmen finished one stretch and moved on to the next. The tunnels connected, section by section, until they formed a continuous underground network wrapping beneath the whole city, guiding everything eastward in long, slow flows to the great pumping stations at Crossness and Abbey Mills, where beam engines, the size of houses, lifted the flow over a threshold and into the tidal reaches below, where it could slip away with the evening ebb. Those pumping stations were built to be beautiful as well as useful. The engineers of the era believed that a building ought to be worthy of its purpose. So they gave the beam engines ironwork painted deep red and gold, and the arches above them were tiled and lit, and the whole interior carried a ceremonial quality, as if someone had decided that the work of caring for a great city deserved its own kind of quiet grandeur, its own form of celebration. Even in the dark, you might let that image settle. A warm interior, insulated from the noise above. The slow nodding of a great beam engine, steady as breathing, its rhythm as unhurried as the turn of a season. Polished brass fittings catching the glow of gaslights. The distant murmur of water finding its level far below. Engineers in dark coats making notes in small books, perfectly absorbed in the ordinary miracle of it all, recording flow rates in the easy silence of a building that knew exactly what it was for and was content. This is how one era gives way to the next, not in any sudden moment, but in the slow accumulation of brickwork and mortar and careful measurement. The ancient streams that rose in chalk hills far to the north, that fed the early marshes and carried flat-bottomed boats on their broad, unhurried currents that lapped against medieval wharves and ran as open channels through Georgian lanes. Those same streams were gathered in and given purpose and sent on their way in the dark. They did not stop being themselves. They only became less visible, less troubled by the world overhead, and in their invisibility they became, somehow, more constant, more permanent. A city that has lived above its rivers long enough begins to forget them, and in that forgetting something restful settles in. The water goes on flowing beneath the hum of everything, steady and unhurried, indifferent to centuries, belonging only to itself and to the long, unbroken dark through which it moves, quietly, as it always has and always will. You are walking through London on an ordinary evening. The pavement is cool and smooth beneath your feet. Glass towers catch the last pale light, holding it briefly in their surfaces before letting it go as a soft amber glow. Buses drift past in their familiar colors. People move around you with quiet purpose, their footsteps merging with the low murmur of traffic into something that feels almost like breathing, easy and continuous. Beneath those footsteps, beneath the tarmac and the roadbed and the packed clay and the buried brick, a river is moving. It has been moving since long before any of this was here. It moves now as it always has, without hurry, without pausing, carrying the memory of reeds and open sky through the long brick channels that Victorian engineers shaped around it more than a century ago. You do not need to find it. You only need to carry the quiet knowledge that it is there, beneath you, steady and unhurried, moving through its ancient course as it has always moved. The modern world has settled lightly over very old things. A coffee shop occupies the ground where a tannery once stood. A glass-fronted building rises where a tidal inlet once lay wide and still in the early morning. The ground beneath every pavement holds layers you cannot see, each one quieter than the one above it. And at the deepest part of all those layers, water still moves. It is a gentle thing, that movement. It turns no wheel. It carries no vessel. It simply flows, as it was always going to flow, following the same slow gradient it found before this place was a thought in anyone's mind, making its way toward the old estuary in its own unhurried time. You pass a tube station. Warm air rises from the entrance, carrying that familiar underground breath, a softness that belongs to no particular season. Somewhere beneath the steady electric hum of the tunnels, a buried river passes close to the deep lines without touching them. The station came much later than the river. The river simply continued on its way. The trains arrive, fill with people, and depart. The river does not notice any of it. The 20th century laid so much down beneath these streets. Concrete foundations driven deep into the clay. Utility tunnels arranged with careful precision. New tube lines bored through the older clay of the earth. All of that went down into the ground, and the water found its way around it, patient and quiet, as water always does. Engineers noted where it pooled and surfaced, surveyors traced its path onto plans. And then they filed the plans away, and the rivers kept going in their old directions, as they had always intended. Now the city stands very tall. You look up and count the lit windows stacked one above another into the evening sky, warm squares of amber in the blue. The sky between the towers is a soft, deep blue, edging slowly toward indigo as the last of the daylight draws away. Somewhere far above, a plane makes its slow crossing, drawing a thin white line that softens and dissolves almost before you have finished looking at it. And far below all of that light and movement, the water moves through its brick channel, unhurried, undisturbed, following the gentle pull of the earth. You find a quiet square tucked between buildings. There are plane trees here, their bark pale and patterned, their leaves still in the evening air. A pigeon settles on a ledge with a small, contented rearrangement of feathers. A warm light appears in a window across the way. You sit down on a bench. The seat is solid beneath you. The trees stand in their quiet patience all around. The city eases into its slower rhythm. Traffic thins along the nearby roads. Voices that were bright a little earlier have softened with the hour. A restaurant door opens somewhere out of sight, and a moment of warmth and low conversation drifts briefly into the square before it closes away again. The plane trees barely move. The sky overhead is very calm. The evening has grown still and generous around you. Beneath the square, beneath the foundations of every building around you, the river is still going. It has no name that most people carry in their minds now. It was named once in a language that was spoken here long before these buildings were imagined. But its path remains. Its course through the earth remains. It gathers quietly from the clay hills to the north, accepts what seeps down through the roots of parks and garden lawns, and makes its way through the old culverts toward the Thames, which it has always been seeking. You let your eyes go soft. The lit windows become gentle blurs of amber. The trees become dark, feathery shapes against the deep blue. Everything is still moving, but slowly now, at the pace of breath, at the pace of settling down into rest. You breathe slowly. Each breath draws in the coolness of the evening and releases it again as something quieter, something more at ease. The bench holds you. The square holds you. The long, patient earth below holds you without asking anything in return. This is what London has always been, beneath its brightness and its speed. Something older, something quieter, something that was here before the first stone was placed and will remain long after the last tower goes dark. You are resting on top of all of that now, held river moves through its channel. It makes no sound you can hear from where you sit. It only moves, cool and patient, through the sleeping earth. It has moved through every era this ground has known, beneath soldiers and merchants and builders, and every quiet, ordinary person who ever walked above it without knowing. It moves beneath you now as you rest. Your breath slows. The square is very still. The plane trees stand without moving. The sky has deepened to the color of still water, soft at its edges, without boundary. You have nowhere to be. There is nothing to do but rest. The river flows on. It will flow through all the small hours, through the empty streets, through the low hush of London resting in its sleep. It will still be flowing when the pale light returns over the rooftops. It will still be going. You do not need to wait for any of that. You are already drifting down, soft and steady, into something very still and very peaceful. The water moves. The earth holds. You rest with it, carried gently by the long, slow turning of all the years this ground has known. Everything is still. You are at rest.